sound about you. Blue sky with the warmth of the summer.
Hi everybody, Dave the Maverick Beekeeper. Welcome to my channel. Thanks for looking in, and anybody who's new to the channel, you're also welcome. I was thinking, I'm the sort of guy that's always rooted for the underdog, and what I'm going to talk about is no exception. So first of all, we know that the girls of the hive take up a lot of our time. We have to make sure they're fed, housed properly, they're healthy, and we make sure we get those things so at the end of the day they're productive. So they do take up a lot of our time. So the beekeeper's always allured by this, no problem. But the thing I'm going to talk about is this fella, the drone. Now the drone is a sign of a healthy hive if you see them in there. But if we really thought about how much of a hard time these fellas get, for instance, if the hive becomes stressed, resources are low, they're then evicted, thrown out, booted out, left to perish in front of the hive itself. And it doesn't really finish there if you think about it. Anything that goes wrong in the hive, and an example would be Varroa, because out of the whole or of the 3 casts in the hive, the drone takes the longest to develop and mature. So they're in the cells longer, and so can be subject to high levels of Varroa. Nightmare for them. Also, here's the real rub: if they ever get to mate, once they've done that, that's them. They die, fall to the ground, index, job done. So what I'm going to do is just talk a little bit about the unsung heroes of the hive, and that's the drone. And we're going to also talk about what they get up to and where they go to mate, the DCA, the drone concentration areas. So again, I'll do it as before. I'll keep it nice and simple. Hope you enjoy this. I'm now going to talk about the drone. As I've said right in the beginning, I'm rooting for the underdogs. I feel that the drones get a tough time of it, and the examples I've already given. So I'm going to give a shout out to these fellas, and I'm going to be an advocate for their predicament. As we all know, honeybees have been studied for a long time over the centuries, and their behaviour is understood, even down to the chemistry of their pheromones and the order of molecules in the DNA. But there is a mysterious part of bee society, the drone concentration area, or the DCA. So we need to ask ourselves some questions to be able to suss this situation out. And that is, what is it? Who's involved? Why they're involved? When does it happen? Where? And of course, how? So let's look at the first of these questions. So what is the DCA? The DCA is a drone concentration area. It's all about the drones getting their leg over, so to speak. It's a place in the air where drones hang out, and the queens are attracted to seek the best to strengthen the good genetics and get a strong lineage. So who's involved? As always, there are main players. Firstly, let's look at the drones. As we know, they are the male counterparts to this dance, and the sole purpose is to find the queen and mate with her. So, some familiarization with this character. Out of all the 3 castes in the hive, the drone takes the longest to emerge and mature. It would follow that these chaps are chunky fellas and need time to develop. They are distinguishable by their sheer size and very large eyes, which they need to count on when the chips are down, and of course to navigate the big flight needed to get to the DCA. Second player, the queen. As far as maturing, virgin queens are larger than workers but smaller than drones and take the least time to mature. But really, they are a means to an end, as they are egg-laying harlots. But maybe we're missing the point. The virgin queen is of course built for speed and has a trim physique, slender wings, and you could say she's built to smash it out of the park. The next question to be answered is why? But as with anything, why would she risk her life to leave the safety of the hive? You must reason it out that it's driven by instinct for the following reasons. A. To avoid inbreeding, and B. To ensure she mates with the fittest drones. Sound familiar? While we're talking about inbreeding, it follows that if the queen is permitted to mate with her offspring, they're going to suffer in the long run with emergent defects. This doesn't need much further explanation. Selection. Survival of the fittest is the age-old Darwinian theory that has held up since any creature has had to adapt to a harsh environment. The drones contained within the DCA in a large comet formation are in direct competition, and they are tested and found that the most resilient and the fittest drones within the DCA are the prize winners. The winners get the spoils of the toil and get to mate with the queen, and their genes pass to the next generation and ensures the survival of the species. Makes sense. This can be contentious as there are methods of artificial insemination adopted by some beekeepers, something I'm not a believer in. Yes, maybe I'm being controversial, but I'm sticking to my guns. So when do the drones know when it's time to get out there? Studies have suggested that temperatures have been around 25 degrees C or above, and when the weather was close with the threat of thunder. Interesting observation. So where? From history, the Vicar of Selborne was England's first ecologist and published his Natural History of Selborne. This was in 1789 and referred to the DCA on Selborne Common, and he wrote these observations, quote, "There is a natural occurrence to be met upon the highest part of our down on hot summer days, which always amuses me much, without giving me any satisfaction with respect to the cause of it, and that loud humming of bees in the air, though no one insect is to be seen. This sound is to be heard distinctly the whole common through, from Money Dells to Mr. White's Avenue Gate. Any person would suppose that a large swarm of bees was in motion and playing about over his head. The noise was heard last week on June 28th. Although very interesting to note, I'm kind of going with the idea that the climate here in Scotland is fickle, and bees will seize the moment as the ideal opportunities arise. As I always maintain, Scotland has 4 seasons in one day. So, next question, how does it all go down? As with any physical exercise, fueling is a critical part of performance output. Drones are no exception. To keep him airborne, he can only carry enough nectar for 25 to 30 minutes, and for sure there's no convenient stops to refuel, so as you can imagine, it's a two-way trip. If he is held up for any reason, the chances of making it is drastically reduced and he is likely to die. Chances of him getting the mission done are slim at best. There's no planning, it's instinctual. There's millions of years attached to his endeavour. So let's look at the fuel expenditure of our intrepid Casanova. Bearing in mind he has 30 minutes maximum, and it takes 10 minutes to get to the DCA and 10 minutes back to the hive. That leaves about 10 minutes in the DCA to get the business done, and that's only if the Virgin happens to be in that DCA. As you can imagine, the climatic conditions need to be just right. Example, the day in question needs to be warm so he can take advantage of the thermals to save precious energy. Odds are stacked, I would surmise. So mating in the DCA. This can be a torrid affair. The queen is pursued when she enters the DCA and will mate with many suitors. This is where the drone and his huge eyes come into play. It is essential that he sees her very quickly and gets on the case to get the valuable genetic material where it needs to be. But here's the real rub in this. Unfortunately, having completed what he was born to do will perish due to most of his genitalia being ripped clean from him. So who's the better aviator? The queen has to be able to get back to the hive in one piece without being predated en route to and from the DCA. Unlike the drone, he has to get there, and his job will be done if he's successful. So what, you ask? Let's break this down. Questions. The queen. To be able to understand the drive of a couple of questions come to mind. The queen only needs to get back to the hive, so it would follow that the DCA she would choose is going to be closer. Well, the answer to that, not necessarily true, as she can pick and choose and can make other attempts over further days and locations. So the next question would be, the Virgin may pass a DCA but not enter it. Will the drone venture outside the DCA to pursue her? The answer to that is, research suggests that a drone won't do this. It is known that the DCA is a clamour and a noisy place, and to be avoided. So the drone. One of the questions that come out, the drone is heavily muzzled, so can he fly further? The answer to that, research suggests absolutely it would follow. The closer to home the DCA is, the longer he can stay. Makes sense. So when we look at where is a DCA, how do we find them? There are some other strange theories about the drone's ability to find DCAs, but we will leave that aside for another time. Scientific research has suggested that drones will fly out to 5 kilometers to the DCA, a remarkable task considering the scale of things. In this modern world, the topography has changed over the years, and trends indicate that this is a common occurrence everywhere. We as humans like to progress, improve infrastructure and travel. Therefore, roads, car parks and ploughed fields especially appear everywhere in a short period of time. This impacts on the amount of drone concentration areas, as these types of places offer very good thermal properties, therefore spreading the sites and reducing the number of drones due to more areas available. As thermals play a big role in the assistance of saving energy for drones, critical for him to succeed. Before the acceleration of progress, areas occupied by drones was an obvious choice and could be predicted as a certainty at the time when it really mattered. But progress is progress, which brings me back to my original point of the Darwinian theory. Well folks, I hope you enjoyed that piece about the drone. Yeah, he does get a hard life, so next time you're looking at hives and things like that, then think about the drone and the part he plays in the greater scheme of things. So I hope you enjoyed that. Again, as before, it's something I've researched. I don't know a lot about DCAs, and it's something I've really got to investigate once I get into the cycle of brood rearing and all that sort of stuff. So I'm looking forward to that, to researching that part physically, so I can at least establish where the DCAs are in my area, because at the moment I have no clue. So that's something I'm looking forward to. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you've liked it, please give a thumbs up. Please comment in the comment section below if there's anything you want to add to that. And of course, if you're new to the channel and you've enjoyed it, please subscribe. And as always, I will see you on the next video. I'm still waiting for some replies on to which part of Disease of the Day, my series, and what you want to add to that. Again, I'm open to ideas. So anything you've got, please put in the comments below. So it remains me to say thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember, be safe, look after everybody, look after yourselves, and of course look after your bees. And I will see you on the flip side of the brood frame. Cheerio.